Good morning, traders. Today is Friday, September 30th. My name is Charles, and this is the Pirate Traders live stream where we talk about the ES and the NQ from the perspective of the two-way auction process. All right. Thank you all so much for joining me. Sorry I'm running late today, but the good news is I can give it to you short and sweet, plain and simple. We are doing one of three things today. We are either going to get continuation of the breakout of balance from yesterday, which would imply excess to the downside, a continuation of the downtrend, which I believe is the highest probability. We might spend the whole day just rotating around on top of the balance area, pretty much very similar to what the overnight did. Sometimes they do that. They torture you by just grinding and grinding and grinding right on that balance area. So that is door number two. And then the alternative is this could become a look below and fail if it pulls back up into value and it starts to get, gets back up into the balance area and it starts to get some momentum. That could trigger the trade all the way to the opposite end of balance. So my main focus this morning, coming into the day, I am starting off bearish. I am starting off assuming that we're going to test the overnight low and we can look for continuation lower from there. But if the market is able to trade back up into the balance area, if it's able to get through this resistance here and get back above 36.64, I could very, very quickly turn bullish if it looks like they're going to get a trade to the opposite end. So I'm keeping a very close eye on that level, 36.64. And pretty much I'm bearish below it and then neutral at it, bullish above it. Like I said, in my mind, the highest probability is a continuation lower. 4 days of balance, we're likely not going to have just 1 day of excess. And the market is open. Lauren, thank you for the sub. Welcome. All right, overnight inventory was net short. They opened up there and they're closed down here. So this is the counter auction to that overnight inventory. Once again, we're looking for resistance right here around 36.56. Okay, so as we pass back through the opening price, we're looking to test the overnight low. And the question then becomes, do we just poke below the overnight low and pull right back up into the range? Or do we poke below the overnight low, come back up and get resistance there? Resistance at the overnight low would get me bearish for continuation lower. I stand corrected. We didn't quite pass through the opening price. I jumped the gun. There we go. Now we're increasing the odds of testing the overnight low, and we're testing the overnight low. So now we're looking for resistance here and continuation lower. Billy, thank you so much for joining us. All right, so everything's looking pretty bearish here. We still haven't had a chance to come back and test that overnight low. And so that tells me this is more long liquidation than necessarily new money selling. So I do think we're going to run out of steam and come back and test this for resistance. We also have these low volume nodes here with only 146 and 127 contracts. That slightly increases the odds they need to come back and put a little more volume in there. But this is bearish, obviously. Just in need of a bounce to bring in more sellers. And of course, the next target to the downside is the repair of 36.24, the weak L period low we left behind yesterday, and then a test of yesterday's low. Scott, 10-pointer to start the day. Congrats, that's good. Can I go over the spheres on Bookmap? Yeah, those are the delta between buyers and sellers. And that just shows me where more than 100 contracts traded. It starts to make one of those little balls. The larger the size, the more volume that traded. So a large red means a lot of sellers traded there. A large green means a lot of buyers. A small, circle means similar number. So on and so forth. Man, my coffee maker is super loud. Can you guys hear that? Cortman says JP Morgan is rebalancing, dumping 26 billion of assets today. Well, I'm sure they're buying something. They're not going to cash. Not with this inflation. Okay, so here's that bounce we were looking for. And now we're expecting some resistance, probably right around the opening price, 36.43, as resistance at the overnight low. All right, that low volume node is back filled. So what we're looking for now, do the ticks get smacked back down below the zero line? And do we head back down to repair that weak L period low? Okay, no resistance there. This must be news related. All right. Well, I'm going to remain bearish. I don't trust this move. So I would say as long as we're below basically the balance area low, as long as we're below 36.64, I'm still bearish. We do technically now have overlapping to lower value. Or maybe it's exactly the same. Man, the ES looks like the NQ right now. Something's at work here. There's some serious algorithms doing business. Just look at that, how instantly all this volume just popped in at that exact moment. It's like somebody just turned on an algorithm. Bloop, bloop. And we're on. What are they doing? It must be news related. Something must have just come out. Man, this is such a tempting short, but it's so tricky with this volatility. News at 10, gonna make it even crazier. Bring it on. Oh, the Michigan sentiment survey? Yeah, that'll be a flutter. Yeah, I mean, this to me starting to look like it's setting up for like a very grindy day. Just looking at Bookmap and the amount of volume on both sides of the market. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and label this a chop zone from here because I don't really want to be hunting for a trade yet. I want to be trying to understand what the market is doing. I'll get bearish again when we get below the halfback at 36.40, and then we stay below there. When we get resistance below that halfback, I'll get bearish once again to head down and repair that weakness. And poof, all the volume disappears. What the freak was that? Out of nowhere, it just appears, and then out of nowhere, it just disappears. These computers, they sure change their mind quickly. I guess it's a bit bullish that they're pulling all that volume up higher, looking to get in up here. Yeah, it's all exactly what they did. They pulled it from here and moved it to there. All right, anybody else want to vote pre-Michigan? You got 4 minutes. Bullish or bearish? All right, we pushed right through that resistance pretty easily. That's a little bit bullish. Can they now turn previous resistance into support, the 3650s? There they go again. Pulling. Moving higher. Jaws music starts. Yep, there you go. All the volume just disappeared. 1 minute before the Michigan sentiment comes out. All right, so that's the bots reading the Michigan sentiment, reacting to it. Still very little volume coming in. There we go. All right, so now can we turn this area into support? What was resistance earlier, around 36.51? Michigan sentiment forecast was 59.5 and the actual was 58.6. Oh no. All right, well, that support is not holding. So it looks like the market wants some more chop. Designed up. Completely untradeable unless you are Maskinus. Yeah, without a doubt. Or a computer. Look at how quickly they're just like pulling orders and flipping the books and changing their mind and changing it back again. Arthur, the bots decide if up or down on Michigan index. Yeah, they read the bots are computers and they read the headlines and they're programmed to make guesses. However, they're programmed. I mean, I don't know. Every single one is going to be programmed slightly differently. Some are going to take purely based on words in the headline. Some are going to take the reaction of Twitter to the headline. Some are going to take the words in the headline compared to the price action movement that's happening second by second at the moment that it comes out. Like they all process the data differently. There's tons and tons of different algorithms, but yeah, they're all just trying to decide how to benefit off the volatility that's going to happen as a reaction. And then like Fighter Pilot says, you also got the month end, you got war talks, you got all this stuff happening right now. There's just a lot. So the market is just chopping around, trying to figure out what to do. Bookmap is doing a great job of helping us understand that because we can see all the big nodes of volume are just constantly popping in and disappearing and popping in and disappearing. And, that's got to just be computers doing very short-term quick trades. They're not positioning themselves for a bigger move. They're just picking pockets, killing time. Hanfafi. Thank you for the sub. Welcome. We got 198 people hanging out, only 67 likes. Let's smash that thumbs up. Maybe smashing that thumbs up will make the market break one way or another. I can't guarantee it, but it's worth a try. I think we should just all try by pushing the thumbs up. Fighter pilot. And with all this going on, where's value? Same as yesterday. It's a great point. We're just bouncing around the POC. Actually, now value's a little overlapping to higher. Okay, Sean, can you explain the things that you were looking at on Bookmap? Yeah, I'm just looking at the volume. So the colors that you see in here, that's the volume. Obviously, if you look up at the top, you can see this kind of gives you the chart. The darker it is, the less volume. The closer to red it gets, the more volume. And so I'm basically just watching. So this part right here, this is the current volume that's in the books right now. And then when you look over here, that's where it was at that particular moment. So I'm just watching those changes when there's volume, and then it suddenly disappears from one location and then moves at that exact moment to a new location. That's what I'm watching for. And how the volume that's currently in the books is constantly changing. It's not like, okay, I want to get short here. Let me put in my order and wait for the market to come up there. It's like, no, like I'm going to get short here. Whoop, no, it didn't work. I'll get short here. Nope, it didn't work. I'll get short here. It's like, that's a computer. That's not a person thinking like that. And there you go again. Poof. All the volume just disappeared. Did you guys see that? There was tons of orange in here. Well, they just changed their mind. What just changed in the world? Nothing. But there was a ton of volume that wanted to be short at 53 30 seconds ago, and now it doesn't. Joe Park, this chop is good to trade. I mean, if you can trade this, you're better than me. Lorenzo, yep, that's exactly right. Joe, buy a little call at the low, buy a little put at the high. Well, let us know when we're at the high. Do tell. Okay, so now if they push back down below half back here, which is also the opening price, and then that turns into resistance, I will get bearish once again to head down and repair that weak reference we left behind from yesterday at 36.24. If we can get resistance at the half back. Screwball, but if the halfback holds, it's bullish to squeeze some shorts. Yeah, I mean, more chop for sure. All right, so now we find out, does this become resistance? Starting to get some new sellers. All right, it does not hold as resistance. The chop continues. Oh, joy. Design Knob. Yeah. What are the deer doing on the ES today, Design Knob? Tell them to go back to the queue where they belong. Ingram, I don't see it going anywhere today. No more major news. Well, I still see today as a very pivotal, like, moment of truth for the market, bigger picture. Um, I see yesterday as a breakout of balance. Okay. And if that was the case, there's really only two options that should happen today, or would be the higher probability, either a continuation of that breakout or a failure where we come back in. There is door number C, where we just rotate here and go nowhere. I'm not saying that that's impossible, but to me, that would be the least likely. But I could be wrong. It may just be that the month end and everything, the market can't go anywhere. Starting to feel like it's going to be one of those days we got to wait for the initial balance before we have any clear signal. Or anyway, starting to get back down in the lower end of the A period would get bearish, but Cortman, it's turning into a day to buy a pack of cigarettes and never come back. Yeah, it's turning into a day where I'm going to need a cigarette at the end. Scott, I think I need to get Bookmap. Do they have a free trial? They don't, but if you click on the link in the description, there's special offers. So you can get it on discount for the first few months while you try it out. And by the way, I think that would be an excellent decision as long as you use the link in the description. Scott, does it help me? It is. It's like, it's kind of hard to explain. I couldn't specifically define an edge right now. Like I couldn't specifically say I need it for any reason, but there is definitely information there. And every day I feel like I'm getting a better and better understanding of it. So I think the edge is coming. I just can't quite define it yet. Screwball. Step one, halfback holds. Now short squeeze. I wouldn't quite define that as halfback holding, but yeah, if they can get above 36.64, or really 36.63, you could look for a short squeeze for sure. But I don't think it's going to happen. Not in the B period. Going to have to wait to break that initial balance. James, how long have I used Bookmap? Like a couple weeks, 3 weeks. Screwball. Halfback at the opening, I find that a sign of weak hands leading. Yeah, I mean, that's the problem. It's nothing but weak hands on both sides. It's just short-term traders making bets and computers picking their pockets. I reckon so far today, a majority of the trades have been closed out with stops, not with limits. Yeah, I would agree. NQ slightly more bullish than the ES, but it's still just doing the exact same thing. It's just chopping. But same as the ES, if they break the initial balance to the upside now, they can get some momentum going. And that could potentially make this a look below and fail at the balance area. But one step at a time. All right. Well, I'm so sorry to leave you guys with no good insights moving forward. It's tricky, man. So same as I said before, if we can get below this area that's currently the halfback, which was where the opening price was, and come back up and find some resistance there, I would still be looking for the market to go lower as a continuation of the trend, right? Yesterday had lower highs and lower lows, and value was lower. So as that momentum continuing, if we can find resistance at halfback, I would look for that continuation. And if we push back up into the balance area, right, if we push back up above 64, I recognize a very high probability that it's going to try to go to the opposite end, but I'm not exactly sure how I would trade for it. I'd be looking for resistance first right at 72, and then perhaps buy the support when it comes back down. But it's kind of a tricky morning. I'm just not sure. So good luck to all of you, and we'll find out how it turned out on Monday morning. Thank you very much, and I will see you all then. If you've been thinking about taking the e-course, this would be a great weekend for it. There's a link in the description. You can learn to read markets just like me, as ineffectively as me today. But obviously, keep yourself out of getting chopped up. This is the way. All right. Thank you very much. See you tomorrow or Monday.